This is Nick from the Groundwire, and today I want to give a brief overview of this 1970 Guild S100. Okay, so let's just start with the obvious here. This guitar looks and is very similar in a lot of ways to a Gibson SG. Probably it was Guild's answer to a Gibson SG. Okay, that part's done. It's like an SG, but it's definitely got its own thing, and that's what I want to talk about today. So this is a 1970 model. This is a pretty early one from when they switched to this body style. And the things that are notably different about this versus the later S100s are, let's see, first of all, it does not have a phase switch, which a lot of them did later on. I actually kind of wish this one did have one. I think that out-of-phase sound is really cool, but this one predates that by a little bit. It also has the Hagstrom tremolo system called the Tremar, I believe, and that was later replaced by Bigsby's on the S100s that had them. Other than that, it's a mahogany body, mahogany neck, rosewood fretboard. It's got some sweet block inlays. It's a beautiful guitar. It's lightweight, super lightweight. It's like 6 pounds, 12 ounces, something like that. It's resonant. It sounds awesome. And it's different from any other dual humbucker guitar I've played. So I want to demonstrate some of the sounds and features of this guitar and show what makes it unique. So the first thing is we should probably talk about the overall feel of the guitar. It's a lot of ways pretty similar to the SG that it looks quite a bit like. It's 24 3/4 inch scale. And on this particular one, it's got, the nut is a little bit narrower than a typical Gibson. It's like a 1.65 as opposed to the 1 11/16. And it's really comfortable. It's somewhere in between a Gibson width and a Fender width. The later 70s S100s, the neck's got a bit narrower and I think a bit thinner. This one has a really nice, comfortable medium C that's very even. It feels great to play all the way up the neck. I would say it's not too dissimilar from the neck on my 335, but it is a bit narrower. It's super comfortable. Overall, it's a little bit bigger than an SG. When you put them next to each other, just the body's a little bit wider, a little bit longer. The whole guitar is just a little bit bigger. But it's super comfortable and feels great to play. The next thing to talk about is the pickups. These are the Guild HB1s. Now, the particular pickups in this guitar, so this guitar is 100% original, but the particular set of pickups in here are, I think, a bit hotter than some of the later wines, and from what I've researched, that was something that was found on the early 1970 Guilds for whatever reason. Who knows why they decided to try winding them hot, but this is a really loud guitar. But uniquely, these pickups are also very bright for humbuckers. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm playing through a 1965 Deluxe Reverb, and no pedals on, clean. Sounds like this. This is definitely overdriving the amp more than any of my other guitars probably would. But yet, it still retains this really bright snappiness that is totally unique to this guitar. Most humbucker guitars are a lot darker sounding. This one has this really bright snappiness to it. This thing is killer for rhythm guitar because it cuts through really well. It still drives the amp, but it doesn't get muddy like a lot of other humbucker guitars can. As far as the overall like fit and finish of this, excellent quality guitar, comparable in every way to a Gibson, and probably, honestly, better quality-wise than what Gibson was doing in the early 70s. Actually, just it is better in quality than what Gibson was doing in the early 70s. This thing, honestly, smokes most Gibsons that I've ever played as far as how it feels, how it plays, all of that stuff. It's super solid guitar. The quirky thing, this Hagstrom Trem, it's not my favorite that I've ever used, but it's very interesting. The feel of it is somewhere in between like a Bigsby and a Jazzmaster Trem, and it's really nice for just sort of shaking chords a little bit, like this. So one other thing that makes this guitar unique is the electronics are a bit different than your typical Gibson as far as the cap values and stuff, and you can get some really unique sounds. Let me just show you how each pickup sounds and then show you kind of what the volume and tones can do, because it's pretty interesting. So here is the neck pickup. Pretty dark, actually, pretty burly. And one of the things that's interesting about it, it has like an 047 cap that gets really dark when you roll the volume off, which can be cool for some sounds too. I mean, it gets real dark and woolly and really fast. But the bridge pickup is totally different. It has a 010 cap, which is a really low value, and it almost gets this cocked wah type of sound when you roll the tone off. I'll show you what I mean here. Really unique. It also has a great in-between position. Real nice kind of chimey bite to it, but I still love the bridge pickup on its own. Okay, let's hear this thing with a little bit of overdrive, and then we can hear some sound comparisons comparing this to my SG. This is the Foxrock's FR100 overdrive pedal, starting on the neck. And the middle position. And the bridge. Love the bridge pickup on this thing. It's got such a great bite for a humbucker without being too honky in the mid-range. Even though the pickups are pretty hot, like I think this is like 8.8K, which is, I think usually a PAF would be about 7.5. So it's quite a bit more output, but it maintains this high-end bite, and it's not super compressed, and it sounds so cool. One other thing that I love about this guitar is it works really well with fuzz. So let's hear that real quick. This is the Blackstrap Electric Mark I tone bender. So let's compare this 1970 Guild S100 to the guitar that it's most similar to, which is a Gibson SG. So you can tell they're pretty similar looking guitars, both dual humbucker, mahogany body, mahogany neck, rosewood fretboard. And no surprise, they sound fairly similar, but certainly not identical. The S100 here, completely stock. The only thing that's been changed on it are the frets and the nut. This SG is a 2001 Gibson SG. It has Lindy Fralin pure PAFs. Let's start with the neck pickup. Pickups. Bridge pickup. And with a little bit of overdrive. All right, so a lot of tonal similarities between the SG and the S100, but they definitely each have their own thing going on. I would say the SG is a little bit darker, a little more compressed, a little bit more mid-range honk, while the S100 definitely has more top-end bite, more dynamics, and a little bit more open, airy, sparkly sound. That makes this a killer rhythm guitar, because a lot of times with humbucker guitars, the high end can get kind of muffled, but this just cuts right through. Love that just snappy high end that you just don't usually get from humbuckers. So these are killer guitars, and they're a killer value in the vintage world. You can find a Guild S100, a 70s one, for quite a bit less money than its Gibson counterpart, and these are going to be a lot better built than most of what Gibson was putting out in the 70s. So highly recommend these S100s, and they're not just an SG copy. I really think they're more versatile with the range of tones you can get with the tone knobs, and the later ones that have the phase switch, which I wish I had and could demo, but you can find that in some other videos. The phase switch is really cool. You can get to those sort of Peter Green out of phase with both pickups on, blending the two volume controls, and they just sound great. So we'll play us out, and thanks for watching.